And Danielle, if you turn it sideways, we'll get a full picture of you rather than just a little thumbnail.
Of me?
Yep.
There we go.
Yay!
All right.
Look at Paul Cook picking up the Zoomity Doom 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 pro tips.
This is the only place. This is the only place I'm on Zoom. Everywhere else, it's WebEx or Google Meetup.
All right, President Ruskin, if you're ready to go, I think we have a quorum.
I'm ready. Let's do it. Okay, we are.
Okay, just a second, Danielle. We can't really hear you. You're kind of fading in and out there.
Meeting
Could maybe
Novi
one of our
Community School District 40M. So I just want to welcome. Hold on, Sheila's going to.
Okay,
Could we maybe get one of our tech people to assist?
we're having a little trouble with the Wi-Fi here at the ESB. Anthony and/or.
He's just gonna get up. You're gonna start seeing him running down the street. You know.
Look like Dr. Weber might be running to the rescue out there.
Can Danielle just dial in her voice on her cell phone?
Yep.
And not use the Wi-Fi?
And she doesn't necessarily have to use the video.
Can you hear me?
Right. We can hear you.
You can hear me now?
Yes.
Okay, let's just do this. If it doesn't work, I'll go on the audio only.
Yeah, why don't you shut off your video, because I can tell you it probably help. Your audio's not great.
Why don't you, the other option,
Okay.
Danielle, would be for you to just make a phone call. Just call in. We wouldn't see your face, but we would hear you better, I think.
But just shut off your video first. Let's test that.
Okay, I'll be back. Sheila's assisting.
Audio.
Okay.
I'm having a hard time hearing Willie as well.
Oh, you are?
Oh, now I'm not. Now that was better.
Okay.
You're just a little muted today versus when you had the headphones, Lily.
Yeah, I just decided I'd try this today. Does it work or no? No,
You're just quieter. Just talk louder.
I can dial in a little bit.
We have 30 people on our Zoom call tonight, our board meeting. So
Wow.
that's more than we get at a regular meeting anyway.
That's
Looks like Hollywood Squares.
And right now, Kevin Donnelly is Paul Lind right in the middle.
Yep, that's right there.
Hey, Steve, why don't you and I try turning the camera feature off on ours and just see if it takes less juice or bandwidth or whatever, and
Okay.
to try to get
Danielle.
Danielle on you.
Won't help.
I'm going to walk down and see how Danielle's doing, and I'll be right back.
Looks like we might need to upgrade some technology there.
Well, we're going to talk about that a little bit later.
Good.
Okay, now I'm on phone.
You sound good, Willie.
So me and my phone are gonna have like a,
So the question is, can we hear you? The other day I had to press *6 to be heard, but let me go back
okay.
and see if I can hear.
Can the 36 of you hear me?
Hey, I think we've got a plan here.
Yes.
I think it'll work. Danielle, I'm gonna come and give you my computer, and then I'm gonna log in on my cell phone in my office. It's probably your cell phone that's causing this.
She's on a phone.
No, I have a PC that didn't log into the internet here.
Well, I've got it. And then I just put your name as President Ruskin. Now, you're not gonna be nearly as handsome when you put the thing on. There's a guy there.
I have a computer. It just wouldn't load up.
It's okay. So we just need to. No, I want to turn that off.
So are we, you hanging up the phone, RJ?
Yep, we're hanging it up.
Okay, President Ruskin?
Yep, can you hear me
Okay,
now?
we're good.
Next week, I'm gonna come at 5:30.
It wasn't working at 5:30 either.
Oh, okay. All right, so back to business here. These were 7 minutes faster than we were at the last board meeting. So we are gonna call the meeting to order. This is the regular meeting of the Novi Community School District Board of Education. It's Thursday, May 21st at 7 p.m. I'd like to welcome everybody and we'll get started to catch up on time. So Mr. Rana, if we can get a roll call vote, that would be awesome.
Sure, Trustee Cook,
Yes, here.
Trustee Hood,
Here.
Trustee Mena here, Trustee Murphy,
Here.
Trustee Roney,
Here.
Trustee Ruskin,
Here.
Trustee Smith.
Here.
Okay, thank you. Motion carries 7-0. We are going to rise for the Pledge of Allegiance.
To the flag of the United States of America.
And to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice.
Justice for all.
All right, next I'm going to ask for an approval of the agenda.
I'll approve the agenda as presented.
Support. Recommended by Mr. Cook and supported by Mrs. Murphy. Roll call, please.
Trustee Cook,
Yes.
Trustee Hood,
Yes.
Trustee Mena, yes, Trustee Murphy, Trustee Murphy,
Give a thumbs up, Bobby. There you go.
okay,
Okay, yes, sorry.
we'll take that as a yes. Trustee Roney,
Yes.
Trustee Ruskin,
Yes.
Trustee Smith.
Yes.
Motion carries 7-0. So this evening, we have an opportunity for a report to the board. We have the 2019 bond project update. Dr. Matthews.
Thank you, President Ruskin. Tonight, we have an opportunity. We will have two opportunities, actually. This first opportunity is a grand overview of the bond project to date. In 2019, the Novi community approved a series of bond issues totaling $185 million, which will provide for security and technology. In addition to Novi Meadows, an advanced technology, STEM robotics space, a multi-purpose facility, improvements to current facilities, athletic sites and parking lots, media center and special education space remodeling, furniture and buses. Tonight, we're grateful once again for our community support. And Mr. Greg Van Kirk and Mr. Kevin Donnelly from Plant Moran Cressa, the district's owner's rep, will present an update of the 2019 bond projects, including an overview of the goals, scope of the work, progress to date, and the next steps. And as I said, this is a big picture overview of the bond project. During our work session, we will get into more details. And so we would ask at this point that you view the presentation and kind of hold your questions for the work session so that we can get into more specifics during the work session. And I will turn it over to either Mr. Van Kirk or Mr. Donnelly.
Thank you, Dr. Matthews. It's a privilege to be here tonight. And like you had mentioned, with me, I have Mr. Greg Van Kirk, partner with Plant Moran, a longtime Novi resident as well. But I'd be remiss if I didn't include our entire team. We have a lot of folks on the line tonight that are participating behind the scenes with this project and have been doing a lot of great work. And if it wasn't for them, we wouldn't be in a good place like we are today. So some of our partners that are online today is TMP, Eric Geiser and John Castellana and their entire team is in attendance, and they're going to be participating in great length during the work session. McCarthy and Smith, Agnes Arfalco and Mr. Bill McCarthy. Agnes also a Novi resident and a proud Novi parent. SME is in attendance as well, Mr. Keith Toro, IDS, Scott Smith, and Matt McCarthy, project manager. And we should have Foresight Design on the line as well. And that's the collaboration of our bond team. So I wanted to recognize them before we move forward. Can everyone see my screen? Everyone can see the big screen? Great. Technology check.
Yes, sir.
All right. So I want to give, like Dr. Matthews had said, the intent of tonight's meeting from our perspective is to give a high-level overview, to kind of reset where we started back in November when the bond had successfully passed, to give an update on what we've accomplished over the last several months, to kind of give another high-level overview of each project and what the scope, the budget, and some of the timing that's involved with executing that work. And then leading into the short picture, what do we have planned for this upcoming summer? And what does the Series 1 scope and schedule look like? So leading into an update, progress update, I'd like to turn it over for a moment to Mr. Gary Kinzer.
So this slide will likely look familiar to you all, as it was part of our bond literature packet as we were sharing out with our whole community as to what this bond might entail when we were educating them as to why they might choose to support it. And you'll see that the bond projects are organized into 5 pillars. So educational facilities and program enhancements, new learning opportunities, 21st century technology, infrastructure and equipment, and safety and security. And then I would also want to point out the visual on the right side of the screen and a reminder that all the amazing work that's going to result from this bond is coming in at a 1/4 point rate reduction for the community.
Thanks, Gary. What I'd like to do now is spend a little bit of time in giving the board a brief update on what the team's been working on behind the scenes, what we've accomplished over the last several months, and provide an overview of the direction that we're heading. Kind of some key buckets and critical items involved with the bond. I'd like to start with bond governance procedures and controls. We've completed bond governance procedures, and what that means is we've set up specific procedures.
Hey, sorry to call you so late.
Put yourself on mute.
So I have hotspots at my house.
Can we hit mute, please?
Kevin, you muted yourself.
Am I unmuted now? Actually, the host muted me. Can everybody
Kevin,
hear
you're
me now?
good now. You're all set. Mhm.
Good. All right. Thank you. I believe I left off bond governance procedures. The team, in collaboration with the administration and the Capital Projects Committee, has established, call it the rules for the project. How are we going to operate? How are change orders approved? How are we processing payments? How are professional services procured? Things of that nature. So we have those in place. They're contained within the meeting minutes, I believe, that the board has received, and you're welcome to go through those. We've set up financial controls and procedures as well at the administrative level and amongst all the team members. Implemented all of our project software control systems. And what that means is we do have project-specific software in place. Some of our teams do. Plant Moran utilizes eBuilder. Our partner McCarthy and Smith utilizes their software system called Procore. And in each of our worlds, we kind of manage to a common theme between the systems and manage the processes that are involved in the project. And it's a good tracking tool for everything involved with the bond. Regular team meetings, I trying to count up today, I believe we've had close to 30 visioning meetings involved with the projects that we're going to be talking about a little bit later. Regular team meetings with we call them OAC team meetings, which are owner, architect, contractor meetings. We have those weekly. We have 6-week intervals with the Capital Projects Committee. So the team is meeting on a regular basis, and I would say we're probably interfacing at least 4 to 5 times a week through various meetings. So there's a lot of work going on behind the scenes. Bond team assembly and procurement. Obviously, we have many of our bond team members here tonight. So the first step after the bond was passed is getting our team in place and getting all the contracts associated in order as well. Procurement of other required consultants. There are some other consultants that we'll need to engage in. We're currently engaging outside of the big four. Some of those are related to due diligence, which means survey work, geotech work. We're in the process right now of bringing on another consultant related to security. So we're close to finalizing the bond team and building it for the next several years. This is a slide that I thought, here's our starting lineup. Here's the bond team. I think all these names are pretty familiar with everybody. A lot of the folks on this list, if not all of them, were all participated in the 2014 program. That was a success. Just going through some more updates on the finance scope and schedule side. As Gary had alluded to in the initial slide, cash flow is really driving the schedule and how quickly we can get this work done. And in order to keep that millage rate down 0.25 mils, we need to procure the financing in a series of 3 bond sales. I'm happy to report, and I think Jill Minnick had reported before she had left, that we've successfully sold the Series 1 bond, which is $75 million, very favorable terms. And the next 2 bond series are going to be sold in 2022 and 2025, both at $55 million each. We've been, as a team, developing and refining the budgets and scopes. Sure, we have initial budgets and we know what the scope is, but as we continue to evolve the program, we're refining and drilling down and having checkpoints in time of how we're doing. Completed all of our project schedules and cash flows for Series 1. Moving on into a real key point that we're at right now, and we're going to be talking a lot about it a little bit later in the program tonight, is programming and design. We've successfully completed several design components for this upcoming summer. If you recall, we've brought forward the secured entries and awarded the CM contract, or the CM portion of that, with the technology up for approval tonight. And what we mean by a secured entry, just to kind of set a framework around that, is every building for the most part is getting some improvements to their secured entry. And that means the configuration of remodeled entries to have secured doors, secured vestibules, integrating the technology to make all of that function to best practices. And in a big, large scale, a lot of the administrative areas are being reconfigured to properly manage the traffic that's now going to be funneled through the office and controlled through the revised secured entry. And we're going to talk a little bit, actually a lot about that in the upcoming work session. Procured and awarded tonight as well, the remainder of the 2020 summer program work, which includes some athletics at the middle school and some civil parking lot work at the high school. A lot of our projects that are being teed up right now for 2021 within the Series 1 scope of work are in planning and design, and those will be the focal points that we're going to be talking about during the work session as well. McCarthy and Smith is active behind the scenes right now, planning and doing budget development as we get to key points to the project. There's three really key milestone points, I would say, in any given project. There's schematic design, and when you get to that point, you want to put budgets that you want to develop budgets that align to it, and to see where you're at, kind of at a checkpoint. And then we're going to be progressing to DD, which is another checkpoint in time, and the design evolves quite a bit between SD and DD, and then the CD phase. So we're at checkpoint number 1, I would say, tonight on many of these projects. And then technology design as well. Technology continues to progress as all these projects are evolving. Bidding and procurement, the board has seen a lot of award recommendations going forward over the last several meetings. We've bid and awarded the secured entries. We're finalizing the technology piece tonight, like I mentioned, and the summer projects. I can report out that all these projects thus far have come in or under budget. And as we continue to award more work and continue to report out in the fall, we'll be reporting out on actuals and cost to complete in a more broader budget update. And bidding and awarding of specialty services, such as, like I mentioned earlier, security consulting. And as we plan for the summer projects coming up, which are not that far down the road, McCarthy and Smith and some of our other team members are actively planning material procurement behind the scenes. Leading up to the work on any given phase, I suppose, but especially this summer, we're actively planning and coordinating behind the scenes, logistically planning. Where are we going to stage? How are we going to protect the public? Agnes and her team with McCarthy has been doing a really good job in planning that work out, especially in the environment of COVID right now. They're all over the the mandates and requirements that we need to adhere to, and all the construction teams are planning real well right now. Move management, especially as we embark on the Meadows project coming up first quarter of next year, there's going to be an in-depth effort involved with getting areas ready, especially with the secondary phases with move management planning with Mike Dragoo and his team. And COVID-19 planning, who knows what we're going to be dealing with a month from now, but I can say that this team is being proactive in our approach. Obviously, construction has resumed again, and we feel that we're not going to have any hangups to starting here in mid-June like we anticipate. But what if the unlikely or maybe likely scenario arises where there's another breakout and work has to stop? So we're looking at those types of scenarios and putting contingency in plans to where we can keep school open and operational and keep construction going as well. So that from our end is a brief progress update. And I think as everyone can see, there's a lot of activity going on behind the scenes, and I hope that piece of it was helpful. What I'd like to do now is enter into the overview of the entire bond. The next set of slides are very similar in nature as far as how they're set up, and they have key components of the scope of the project, the budget, and the timing for which we're going to execute the work. First project is the Novi High School and Activity Center, and as Gary had referenced in that initial slide, kind of the main objectives for the bond. A lot of those have common themes that run through each project. So I'm going to pick some highlights from each slide as it relates to that particular project and just point them out. Over at the High School and Activity Center, obviously the Activity Center is going to be a key piece, which is going to be later in the bond, but that'll be a key point to that site. as well as the CAT Lab. And what we're referring to as the CAT Lab is the Center for Advanced Technology, which is going to house robotics and many of the other programmatic technologies within the district. New gateway to the athletics, media center, remodeling and a lot of the interior collaboration spaces being upgraded as well. The overall budget for the high school piece is $52.5 million, with the activity center piece being $14.3 million. And the work is going to be executed over all three series, which is series 1, 2, and 3, starting with the secured entry, which we're going to be talking a lot about a little bit later tonight. And keep in mind as we present these dates that they include design timelines and construction. So obviously we haven't started the work for phase 1 yet, but we have been behind the scenes working on design. Secured entry is going to be the first phase, which will be bid out this fall, and work will start first quarter of 2021. And then, like I had said earlier, how quickly we can execute the work is driven by cash flow. We have multiple phases over at the high school, followed by phase 2, which does have the CAT Lab as one of the main focus points of that phase, with the interior remodeling at the west half, and the east half and the pool on phase 3, and then followed up by the expansion and the activity center. Novi Middle School, some of the key scope features over there. We are doing another safe and secure entry, which again will be another project we're reviewing tonight. With the music room classroom addition, which is also underway in design, shared collaboration spaces, media center addition, and we have some athletics that we're improving at the middle school as well. The overall budget is $24.5 million, spread over series 1 and 3. Some of the work that we're going to see starting here relatively soon will be with the athletic piece, and we're going to have some work that's going to be ongoing this summer with the track and the scoreboard. And then it's going to be followed with the secured entryway project, the music wing edition, which will be bidding this fall and starting first quarter of next year. And then followed by phase 2 of the renovations. Meadows 5-6 addition and campus, we're going to have a lot of discussion, I would imagine, tonight and get into some real detail. And I know the team's excited about talking about this project, but it's really an addition just by definition. If you can see that footprint there in purple, it's just a connection point on the existing buildings under the current program, but it's a large new addition that's going to be connected and integrated into the existing campus that, again, we're looking forward to talking a lot about tonight. $56.2 million. It's actively in design right now, and it's going to be spread out over series 1 and 2. The first phase will be the new addition piece that we see there in purple. And we are going to be bidding that out this fall with a start date as well of first quarter of 2021 for the addition, followed over a couple different phases to remodel both the 6th and 5th grade houses. We are touching all of our elementary buildings, and we have rolled up all the elementary buildings into one slide, trying to conserve time here tonight. But every building is receiving very similar level of scope and improvements. Each building is receiving a new safe and secure entryway, which 3 of them are going to be starting this summer, and a lot of interior upgrades, collaboration space, interior learning, outdoor learning, and like I had said, all these buildings pretty much share the same scope. And as well, we're going to have a lot of playgrounds that are going to be upgraded through the next several summers at the elementaries. In aggregate, it's $37.3 million with all the elementary buildings spread out over series 1 and 3. Deerfield, Woods, and Parkview are going to be the first series of buildings to see and receive work, and that will be starting this summer in about 3.5 weeks. And then those are going to be followed with interior building renovations during the series 3 program. Over at Orchard Hills and Village Oaks, again, those are another couple projects that we're going to be getting into great length about tonight, at least as it relates to the secured entryway addition. Those are projects that are bidding out this fall and also starting first quarter of 2021. You might be asking yourself, didn't we just do this project? We did, and the Early Childhood Center has been extremely successful for the district to the point where we already need to expand. And the predominant work that we are doing over at the Early Childhood Center is the addition of 2 new classrooms and conversion of some existing classrooms to help the added demand that's at the Childhood Center. Matt, I'm going to ask you to speak to this slide, and I'd like to introduce Matt McCarty, who is with IBS. He's overseeing the technology.
Thank you, Kevin. So as you realize that the role of technology is to support and facilitate the purpose, the goals, and the operations of the district. And so to that end, we've arranged the technology projects under 5 pillars that align with the 5 pillars that represent the goal, the overall goal of the bond and of the district. And so that first pillar, classroom instructional technology, includes instructional infrastructure improvements. It'll include things like teacher devices to support enhanced online learning, classroom audio systems. It'll also include 21st century collaborative technologies, things like document cameras, interactive displays, and some of the new technology that'll allow students to work together. The second pillar is safety and security. Those include technologies that we may need to look at to facilitate the return to school in light of COVID-19. And so, just kind of brainstorming what those might look like. It might include some sort of temperature scanners, maybe some ultraviolet sterilizing technology. We don't really know yet, but we want to make sure we're looking at that. It also includes all of the secured entries, like Kevin explained, the technology that supports those secure entries, like card readers, access control systems, video cameras. It includes the PA systems and the clocks. And the PA systems would be integrated with classroom audio systems, so it'd be a complete and comprehensive system. The third pillar is administrative and operational technologies. These are staff and administration devices, things like copiers, printers, those things that help you conduct the business of the district. The fourth pillar is large group technologies. These are the performing arts centers, the athletic venues. They would include also some digital signage that we're going to be looking at. And then lastly, but not least, is the infrastructure. You have to have a good solid infrastructure to support all of the technology and the way that the district wants to use technology moving into the future. And so that includes wired network, cabling, Wi-Fi upgrades and expansion. We look for Wi-Fi technology to advance over the next few years. We want to make sure that we can keep up as a district. And also then the phones and voicemail systems are included there. The budget for technology is $28.9 million. And so it is, it's not an afterthought. This is definitely, we want to make sure we do this right and support the district to help the district achieve its goals, its educational and operational goals.
Thank you, Matt.
Kevin, I'll turn it back to you.
Sounds good. Also within the bond are various support buildings, purchases of buses and equipment through all 3 series. This will occur during the life of the bonds, predominantly in Series 3. The buildings that we're going to be touching are the maintenance building, the transportation building, the ESB building, and the primary upgrades that will occur at those sites are infrastructure improvements and some technology and security upgrades. So with all that being said about the overall scope of the bond, I'd like to talk a little bit about what's our near-term plan for this summer, and to walk you through those projects and a schedule. And then right after that, lead into what does the Series 1 program and schedule look like. So we've touched upon it through the course of this presentation at several points, but the projects that we are tackling for this summer are the Parkview, Novi Woods, and Deerfield Elementary secured entries, summer 2020 site improvement program at the high school and district-wide, and what that means. We are actually redoing the parking lot at the high school, and throughout the district, there's going to be a need for miscellaneous improvements and repairs, sidewalk repairs, asphalt repairs, sinking catch basins, things of that nature. And we're going to have a similar program probably on a yearly basis. 2020 athletics program over the middle school, we're doing some improvements to the track, procuring and installing a new scoreboard and sound system at the field, and some miscellaneous bleacher repairs. Up for first reading tonight is one of these projects. We've been asked to procure pricing to replace the diving boards at the high school. So we're going to be looking to get that work done or going. And we're in the initial stages right now of discussing and planning out what the replacement of the pool timing system might look like over at the high school, and to get that planning and design moving forward. We're actively doing playground assessments right now throughout the district. Our efforts on that front were delayed a bit due to the COVID shutdown, but our teams with Foresight Design have recommenced that work, and we're going to start coordinating at a deeper level with the administration related to the playgrounds. And every year, in every project, we're going to be implementing technology and equipment purchases like I had mentioned. Talking about schedule, with Parkview, Novi Woods, and Deerfield, we are looking to mobilize and start work the middle of June on these 3 secured entries. And they'll get started and underway here shortly. We've been actively planning behind the scenes. Permitting, I believe, will be in place here shortly, and a lot of the due diligence work is complete. So work is cleared and ready to go. Summer site work and site improvement program, which is, like I mentioned, predominantly the high school parking lot, the staff lot. We're going to have a kickoff meeting next week that we'll get that work underway, and we're looking to actually mobilize the first part of June. And it should take about 30 days to get that work complete. Athletics program, which again is the middle school work. That was under design since February, but that'll be done this summer and complete by this fall. And then the diving board replacement and pool timing as well. The pool timing is still a little bit of a moving target, but we're hoping to get that work going late this summer as we move through the design. But the diving boards, which are up for award tonight, we feel we can get those completed yet this summer. It's a couple-day process to replace once we have the boards. And playground equipment, as we continue to finalize the assessment piece for this summer, we'll continue to coordinate and plan with the district. And it's our hope that we can get a couple, call it easier playground replacements done yet this fall and make an impact. Series 1 projects, which makes up the balance of that $75 million, which is predominantly the secured entry at the high school, middle school, the 2 elementaries, and obviously Meadows, which is a big chunk of it. But all these projects going down the list are currently in design, and these are predominantly the projects that we want to talk about tonight. We are at a key point in time, which we'll talk a little bit about later, where we've actually completed the SD and we're getting ready to move into that DD phase, like I had mentioned. So we want to get the board up to speed tonight. We want to make sure you have an opportunity to really dig into these projects, which our teams are going to do. And we want to make sure that we're on the right track, because if we continue to move forward and someone raises their hand a month from now, we're going to have to back up the bus. So we want to have a good working session here after I wrap up this piece of it. Site improvement program, athletics, roofing, and playgrounds for 2021. We're adding more scope in different projects, but these types of programs are going to run on a yearly basis, at least for the first probably the first 3 or 4 years. And then again, technology and equipment are definitely a piece of each series. Talking about the schedule and timelines, Orchard Hills and Village Oaks. Like I had mentioned, we are in the design phase right now, and we're looking to bid those out this fall, starting the first quarter of 21. And the same holds true for the next couple of projects. The middle school secured entry and music addition, the high school secured entry, Meadows 5, 6. Those are the really core group of projects right now that TMP and their teams have been working on behind the scenes that, again, we're looking forward to talking about tonight. And then the summer program, which will basically roll again through next summer, starting in June and then wrapping up before school starts. So I hope I kept this at a high level tonight, because we're looking to, again, get into a lot of detail here shortly. I hope that we were able to give you a good update on what we've done over the last 6 months. If you factor in the holiday and the COVID, which has been obviously an ongoing thing for months, I feel very proud of what this team has accomplished. The districts, our teams are working very well together. Jill, who departed late last week, she was instrumental in to where we are today, along with Mike DeGrew and Jacob McDermott. And Gary's been there all along as well, and we're looking forward to continue to work with Gary on all the exciting stuff that we have coming up here in the bond. So that wraps up my presentation for tonight. I'm sure we have time for a few quick questions, but again, we're looking forward to getting in a lot of detail here shortly.
Thank you, Kevin. I appreciate you. As you can see, the team's been working really, really hard, and I think you did a super job kind of condensing that into, 25 minutes, considering the amount of hours that everybody's put into that. As Dr. Matthews pointed out and Kevin has pointed out, we will be having a work session with a lot of drawings and information and opportunities for questions. But if someone has a burning question on the big picture, you can raise your hand real quick, but if not, we're going to move on and then we will get into questions after in our work session. Okay, it looks pretty quiet out there. Thank you again, Kevin. I appreciate you, and we look forward to you and the team working with us in the next half hour or so. Okay. Alrighty, so next we have comments from the audience related to agenda items. Dr. Matthews, do we have anybody who submitted any comments regarding the agenda items tonight?
No one has submitted any comments. No one has submitted any comments.
Okay. And no one is here in the boardroom, so I think we're good to move on. Next, we have the consent item agenda. Tonight, we have two things, two main points: approval of minutes, regular meeting minutes of May 7th, 2020, work session meeting minutes from May 7th, 2020, and then we also have the approval of the bills. So if I can get a recommendation to move the consent agenda. Mr. Smith?
I move that the Novi Community School Board of Education approve the consent items as presented.
Support.
Support.
Recommended by Mr. Smith and supported by Mr. Cook. Mr. Mena, if we can get a roll call vote, please.
Okay, get that up again. Trustee Cook?
Yes.
Trustee Hood? Unmute Trustee Hood. We'll loop back. Trustee Mena, yes. Trustee Murphy?
Yes.
Okay, Trustee Roney?
Yes.
Trustee Ruskin?
Yes.
Trustee Ruskin? Okay. Trustee Smith?
Yes.
Yes.
Trustee Smith? Is that okay. And then Trustee Hood?
Yes.
Yes.
All righty. Got all yeses.
Thank you. Motion carries 7-0. All yeses, 7-0. Okay. I think there's a little delay, so it's okay. All righty, so next we'll move on to action items. We have quite a few action items listed tonight. Many of these things we have presented in information prior to this, but we will start off with the personnel report. Dr. Kinzer.
Thank you, Dr. Ruskin. This evening, we have one leave of absence. It is a year one personal leave of absence for the 2020-2021 school year for Joseph Pruchnik, a special education teacher at the Novi Adult Transition Center.
Thank you. Can I get a recommendation?
I'll move to approve the personnel report recommendations as presented.
Support.
I'll support.
Support.
Recommended by Mrs. Murphy and supported by Mrs. Roney. Any questions for Dr. Kinzer or comments? Okay, hearing none, we will get a roll call vote. Mr. Mena, please.
Trustee Cook?
Yes.
Trustee Hood?
Yes.
Trustee Mena, yes. Trustee Murphy?
Yes.
Trustee Roney?
Yes.
Trustee Ruskin?
Yes.
Trustee Smith?
Yes.
Thank you. Recommendation carries 7-0, Mr. Mena. All righty, next up we have the Oakland Schools Budget Resolution. Dr. Matthews.
I think he's on
Steve, you're
mute.
muted. Sorry. He is. I don't think he can hear me.
Sorry about that.
There we go. Let's try
Per
again.
the Michigan Revised School Code. Okay. Per the Michigan Revised School Code, the Oakland Schools annual budget must be presented to Oakland County's 28 school districts. Oakland Schools distributed sets of the budget document to the superintendent, the business manager, and board treasurer Kathy Hood. Per section 624, sub paragraph 2, sub paragraph B, the following actions are required for the district to be in compliance. We have to review the intermediate school district's general education fund operating budget. Not later than June 1st, adopt a board resolution either expressing support for or disapproval of the proposed budget, and submit to the ISD Board of Education any specific objections and proposed changes. Per section 624, only the general operating fund requires a board resolution. However, the ISD has provided all of the draft budgets, special ed, career focused ed, special revenue, cooperative activities, debt service, capital projects, enterprise and internal service, and grant funds. While not a statutory requirement, the Oakland Schools Board of Education held a remote delegates meeting on Wednesday, April 28th, to provide board delegates and district administrative staff an opportunity to hear a presentation on the budget. So there are 2 resolutions tonight. The board needs to pick which one. Recommendation 1 is that the Novi Community School District Board of Education adopt the attached resolution supporting the ISD budget. The second recommendation is that the school district adopt the resolution disapproving of the ISD budget. So tonight, for action, the board needs to pick one or of those recommendations, either supporting the ISD budget or disapproving of the ISD budget.
Thank you, Dr. Matthews. So I am just going to have a board member make a recommendation and we'll see how it goes since we have A or B.
Can
Mr.
Kathy
Mann.
make the recommendation?
Mrs.
What,
Hood?
Tom? Yeah, I was going to say
Yeah, let you go
can-
first.
Yeah, can I just, thank you. And I'm going to do recommendation number 1, that the Novi Community School District Board of Education adopts the attached resolution supporting the ISD budget.
I'll support that.
Okay, we have a recommendation by Mrs. Hood and supported by eeny, meeny, miny, mo, Mr. Smith. And do we have any comments or questions, or are we ready to vote? Looking very quiet around here.
Mr. Cook has
I
his
think
hand.
Mr. Cook.
Yes,
This is, yeah. Historically, I have not supported the Oakland school budget because they historically are in a negative spending, and for the next 5 years, they're also in a negative spending. That has nothing to do with any funding that changes that are going to occur. But they are constantly spending more than they're bringing in, and I'm not going to support this one.
Okay, thank you for your explanation. We appreciate that. Any other comments or questions?
I
Mr.
do.
Mena? Yes, please.
Does anybody who's done a deep dive on that particular budget have any response to what Mr. Cook said? I just like to hear to see why that's the case. And that has been a concern for quite a few years. That continues to be a constant issue with their budget.
I'll jump in. The explanation from the ISD is that they have fund balance, and so that they're willing to spend their fund balance on their programs to support students in the county. They understand that they are spending their fund balance, but their perspective is that's what their fund balance is for, and they continue to have a fund balance, and so they're not in a situation where they're getting to the threshold that the state considers serious in their fund balance.
Thank you, Dr. Matthews. Any other questions or comments, Mrs. Hood? You're good?
Yeah, no, not really. That is the correct explanation. They did review that, and Mrs. Ruskin, or Dr. Ruskin, I can't remember if you were on that call with me and Jill. And they are.
I was there for a little while, yes.
They had some, yeah, so they had some pay increases scheduled, which they are holding off given the current situation of, budgetary flux. So, but to Dr. Matthews' point, they are comfortable with spending down the fund balance that they had a little bit.
Thank
Does anybody have any idea what their fund balance percentage is? Does anybody have any idea what they usually try to keep their fund balance percentage at there?
I did notice that I don't have a paper copy, unfortunately, so I'd have to go back, dig through the electronic copy. I don't have it in front of me, to tell you the truth.
If you look on page 33 of their proposal, it lists their estimated fund balance for the next 5 years. For the 21-22 school year, it'll be 17.3% or $3.9 million. And it goes all the way out to 25-26, where it'll be 14.1%.
Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Cook. Well, there you go.
All right, any more questions or comments? Okay, seeing none, Mr. Mena, I'm going to ask you for a roll call vote, please.
Trustee Cook?
No.
Trustee Hood?
Yes.
Trustee Mena, yes. Trustee Murphy?
Yes.
Trustee Roney?
Yes.
Trustee Ruskin?
Yes.
Trustee Smith.
Yes.
Thank you.
Motion carries 6-1. Thank you. Next up, we have the Chartwell's contract renewal. Dr. Matthews.
Thank you, President Ruskin. At the June 2nd, 2016 Board of Education meeting, Chartwell's was approved to continue to serve as the district's food service management company for the 16-17 fiscal year. The district has the option to renew the contract annually for up to 4 additional years, which requires annual approval by the Board of Education. The district renewed the contract for each year since. A renewal for 2020-21 would be the 4th renewal. The Michigan Department of Education is also required to approve the renewal before being presented to the Board of Education. We received the MDE approval on April 24th, 2020. District administration has been extremely satisfied with the work performed by Chartwell's, and especially of Aval Gazzarato, Food and Nutrition Director. Chartwell's and the district administration have agreed to a $300,000 financial guarantee again for the 2020-21 fiscal year. The food service management contract renewal was presented at the May 7th board meeting for information and discussion, and is recommended for approval at tonight's board meeting. And so the recommendation would be for our district to continue to approve Chartwell's as the district's food service management company. We have both Aval and Ann Smith, who is Aval's boss, in the meeting with us tonight if the board has any questions. But we did discuss this at our May 7th meeting.
Thank you, Dr. Matthews. And thank you, Ann and Aval, for being here tonight. If I can ask for a recommendation, and then we'll open it up to questions. Mr. Mena?
Yeah, I move that the board approve Chartwell's to continue to serve as the district food service management company by renewing their contract for a 4th year.
Support.
Okay. Recommendation by Mr. Mena and supported by Mr. Cook. Does anyone have any questions or comments? Mr. Smith, it looks like you're waking up, so you get to go next.
I was just unmuting to vote, but I think our relationship with Chartwell's has been awesome. Aval's done a fantastic job. I mean, especially with the launching of the Starbucks at the library. I can't say enough good things about it. So with that, I'm anxious to vote to support. So that's all.
Great, thank you. Mr. Mena?
Yes, and I just want to echo what Mr. Smith said. It has been a great relationship. And they've done a lot of things over the past few years that I believe is really above and beyond what I certainly would have expected at a Chartwell. So, and honestly, I think there's a great value to have, the same personnel working with us as well. So I know that I hear nothing but great things about Aval. And I know she's smirking. You should smile, because I think everybody who brings up your name talks positively about you all the time. So we're really grateful to have you around. So yes, I will definitely be supporting this.
Thank you very much.
Great. Yes, I echo those same sentiments. And honestly, the last 8 to 10 weeks, you've all gone above and beyond and really put yourself out there in times where others were unable to work and help support our community. So that is just, the added bonus of what we've gotten to see out of all of you. So any other comments? Okay. Seeing none, Mr. Mena, I'm going to ask for a roll call vote, please.
Mr. Cook.
Yes.
Trustee Hood.
Yes.
Trustee Mena, yes. Trustee Murphy.
Yes.
Trustee Roney.
Yes.
Trustee Ruskin.
Yes.
Trustee Smith.
Yes.
All righty. So many people on the screen, I have to look around and try to find everybody.
Yeah, motion carries 7-0. Thank you, Mr. Mena, and thank you to both of you again for everything. And we look forward to the continued relationship with the Novi Community School District. So be well.
So do I.
Thank you.
Okay, next we.
If you guys don't want to stick around, you don't have to.
Thanks.
Next, we have the 2020 site improvement projects. Dr. Matthews.
Thank you, President Ruskin. On April 24th, 2020, bids for site improvement projects scheduled for the summer of 2020 were opened and publicly read aloud. The 2020 site improvement program includes the replacement of the west parking lot at the high school and various district-wide site improvements, including catch basin improvements, broken sidewalk replacements, and asphalt repairs. The district received 2 bids for this project, which have been analyzed and tabulated. Nagel Paving was the lowest responsive bidder with a base bid of $226,687.80. This work is within budget, and Plant Moran Cressa, the district's owner's rep, has developed an overall recommended budget for the project, which is included in your materials this evening. On April 30th, 2020, the district Soil and Materials Engineers, Inc., SME, civil engineer, and Plant Moran Cressa conducted successful post-bid reviews with Nagel Paving. Nagel Paving will be able to commence work on or about June 1st, 2020, and be complete in approximately 4 weeks. It's recommended that the Board of Education award the 2020 site improvement program to Nagel Paving of Novi, Michigan, in the amount of $226,687.80, funded from the 2019 Bond Capital Projects Fund and Sinking Fund. Attached are the letters of recommendation and bid tabulations from SME and PMC. The 2020 site improvement program bid was presented and recommended to the Board of Education for information at the May 7th board meeting. It is recommended for approval at tonight's board meeting.
Thank you, Dr. Matthews. If I can get a motion for recommendation, please.
I'll do it. I move that the Novi Community School District Board of Education award the 2020 site improvements program to Nagel Paving of Novi, Michigan in the amount of $226,687.80, funded from the 2019 Bond Capital Projects Fund and Sinking Fund.
I support.
Thank you, Mrs. Murphy. Recommended by Mrs. Murphy and supported by Mrs. Hood. Any questions or comments? I think we had an opportunity to talk through this at our last meeting and send any questions that we had, but does anyone have any additional information that they may need before making a vote?
No, but I'd like to, it's not going to affect my vote either way, but, you know, with all the hardscape and flat surfaces we have around, have we been looking at any new technologies that they might have on surfaces like this that would reduce runoff, and you know, so we don't have to have as many catch basins and stuff like that?
Thanks, Paul. Fortunately, we have Keith Toro available here tonight from SME. I would defer to Keith.
Sure. Yeah, this is Keith Toro. I'm a civil engineer, and I'm in the paving group, infrastructure group at SME. Ann Arbor has done quite a bit of work with some of the pervious pavements. The big issue with those is the maintenance is very, very expensive. To have rainwater soaking through these pavements, they've got to be vacuumed quite a bit and cleaned out. If you have any mud, it clogs the system, and then you have flooding issues. You know, the technology is there, but again, it's a very expensive thing. One of the other things is bioswales, where you have the runoff go into ponds. And again, at the high school, for example, this year, we really don't have the room to put anything like that in. And they do have quite a bit of expense. So we're not adding any additional pavement to what we have now. We're just simply resurfacing. But yeah, the technology is there, but it's not as effective as we'd like it to be.
Yeah, thank you. I'm not interested in saddling the district with the long-term costs. I was just wondering if if those technologies have gotten to a point where they are beneficial to districts like us. So thank you.
In drier areas, it's certainly more feasible. Again, with our weather system here in Michigan, and certainly the seasons, the plows will also rip those surfaces up fairly easily too. So we do quite a bit of work with Ford Motor Company in some of the southern areas. Again, I was just a couple of months ago in Mexico City, and they've got that system there, and it works fairly well. But again, they have 2 months of rain out of the 12 and no snow and no plows. But in our climate, it's really not feasible in our opinion.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Cook, for the question, and thanks for your response. Any other questions or comments or concerns? No? Okay. Seeing none, Mr. Mena, I think we're ready for a roll call vote, please.
Trustee Cook,
Yes.
Trustee Hood,
Yes.
Trustee Mena, yes. Trustee Murphy,
Yes.
Trustee Roney,
Yes.
Trustee Ruskin,
Yes.
Trustee Smith.
Yes.
Okay, motion carries 7-0, Mr. Mena. Thank you. Next, we'll move on to action item E, which is the middle school athletic projects. Dr. Matthews.
Thank you, Dr. Ruskin. On April 24th, 2020, bids for Novi Middle School athletic projects scheduled for the summer of 2020 were opened and publicly read aloud, which includes various improvements at the middle school, including track repairs, scoreboard and sound system replacements, and selective bleacher repairs. The district received 2 bids for the track repairs, 4 bids for the scoreboard and sound system, and no bids for selective bleacher repairs. On April 29th and 30th, Foresight Design, the district's athletic design consultant, conducted post-bid reviews with the apparent low bidders for the track repairs and the scoreboard and sound system. Successful post-bid reviews were conducted with Goddard Coatings for track repairs and Daktronics for the scoreboard and sound systems. Goddard Coatings' base bid is $9,800, and Daktronics' base bid is $74,167.14. The work is within budget, and Plant Moran Cressa, district's owner's rep, has developed the attached and overall budget recommended for this project. Selective bleacher repairs will be rebid. It is recommended that the Board of Education award the Novi Middle School athletic projects funded from the 2019 Capital Projects Fund and Sinking Fund to Goddard Coatings of Pontiac, Michigan for track repairs in the amount of $9,800, and to Daktronics for the scoreboard and sound systems in the amount of $74,167.14. Attached are the letters of recommendation and bid tabulation from Foresight Design and PMC. The Novi Middle School athletic project's bid was presented to the Board of Education for information on May 7th. It is recommended for approval at tonight's board meeting.
Thank you, Dr. Matthews. If I can get a recommendation from a board member, Mr. Mena?
Yeah, I move that the board award the Novi Middle School athletic projects funded from the 2019 Bond Capital Projects Fund and Sinking Fund to Goddard Coating of Pontiac, Michigan for track repairs in the amount of $9,800, and to Daktronics for scoreboard and sound systems in the amount of $74,167.14.
Thank you.
I'll support.
Thank you, Mrs. Roney. So recommended by Mr. Mena and supported by Mrs. Roney. Does anyone have any questions for the team? We also have Mr. Gordon here with us tonight. Okay. Seeing none, I know there were some questions before and they were answered at our last meeting. So Mr. Mena, I am going to have you do a roll call vote then, please.
Trustee Cook.
Yes.
Trustee Hood.
Yep.
Trustee Mena, yes. Trustee Murphy.
Yes.
Trustee Roney.
Yes.
Trustee Ruskin.
Yes.
Trustee Smith.
Yes.
Thank you. Motion has carried 7-0. We appreciate the work that's being done on this, and we look forward to these projects moving forward for our students in the future. Next up, we have secure entry renovations and technology. Dr. Matthews.
Thank you, Dr. Ruskin. This is Bid Pack 1, Secure Entry Renovations Technology, Deerfield Elementary, Parkview Elementary, and Novi Woods Elementary. Bid Pack 1, Secure Entry Renovations Technology consists of electronic security components for the secure entry renovations at Deerfield Elementary, Parkview Elementary, and Novi Woods Elementary. On April 23rd, 2020, 3 sealed bids were received and publicly opened for the above referenced project. In attendance were representatives from the Novi Community School District, Integrated Design Solutions, IDS, District Technology Consultant, Plant Moran, Cressa, and Owner's Rep, and interested bidders. IDS conducted post-bid reviews with all 3 bidders. The low bidder's proposal was incomplete, and the second low bidder, Jamarlo Services Integration, completed a successful post-bid review. Jamarlo Services Integration proposal is $92,411.50 and is within budget. Attached are letters of recommendation and bid tabulation from IDS and PMC. The project is part of the 2019 bond project and will commence in June with completion by late August. It is recommended that the Board of Education award bid pack number 1 project to Gamarlo Services Integration, the lowest qualified vendor, in the amount of $92,411.50 and be funded from the 2019 Bond Capital Projects Fund. The Secure Entry Renovation Technology Project award was presented to the Board of Education for information on May 7th. It is recommended tonight for approval.
Thank you, Dr. Matthews. Can I get a recommendation, please? Mrs. Roney?
I'll recommend that the Novi Community School District Board of Education award bid pack number 1 project to Gamarlo Services Integration, the lowest qualified vendor, in the amount of $92,411.50 and to be funded from the 2019 Bond Capital Project Fund.
Thank you.
Support.
Thank you. Recommended by Mrs. Roney, supported by Mr. Smith. Do we have any questions for the team? Again, I know we talked about this back at our last board meeting, but please feel free to ask any questions before we take a vote. Okay. Seeing none, we'll go ahead with the roll call vote. Mr. Meno.
Trustee Cook.
Yes.
Trustee Hood.
Yes.
Trustee Mena, yes. Trustee Murphy.
Yes.
Trustee Roney.
Yes.
Trustee Ruskin.
Yes.
Trustee Smith.
Yes.
Thank you. Recommendation passes 7-0. Thank you for all your work again on all of this, Mr. Donnelly and all the team members here. So we have one more action item. I know we've done a lot of approvals this evening. So our final one is Oakland Schools Board of Education Biennial Election 2020 Resolution. Dr. Matthews.
Thank you, Dr. Ruskin. As you know, the Oakland Schools Board of Education has a biennial election. This year, there is one person who has filed for that seat, Mr. George Ellert. What the district is required to do is to pass a resolution to support his election to the Oakland Schools Board of Education. And then in your resolution, you designate a person to vote in the election. The person who has been designated in the resolution is Kathy Hood. You direct the designee which candidate that you support, and in this case, there's only one candidate. And then thirdly, you would direct the designee to vote for the individual at least on the first ballot. And so that's what this request that you approve that process to support the Oakland Schools Board of Education biennial election in 2020.
Thank you, Dr. Matthews. If I can get a recommendation.
I'll move that the Novi Community School District Board of Education adopt the resolution for the Oakland Schools Board of Education biennial election 2020 as presented.
Thank you.
I'll support.
Recommendation by Mrs. Murphy and supported by Mrs. Roney. Any questions?
I